You can see the passion that's driving them, and you can see it after the game. When someone like Tana starts getting a bit emotional, they've got the balance there.
Well, this is honest chat from a bloke who was
on
waving the flag
Crusaders
saying
train.
that they're winning the title a week ago.
I jumped off that Crusaders train on Saturday after that thing, and I said, Crusaders train, just keep going, okay?
Here's a stat for you. 28 bonus points so far in 7 rounds. 17 of them are for losing by less than 7. So it gives you an idea of how tight things are this year.
Welcome to the DSPN.
He's getting him. Oh, there you go. He was forward.
Oh, a punch up now in midfield. Fraser's involved.
The Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to the podcast, people. Marty Devlin, Lachlan Waugh, another edition of the DSPN. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It really does help. We're on the way to 6,000 subscribers. We want to get to 10,000 as quick as we can. If you're listening, Rover, wherever you find your favourite podcasts, Google, Apple Play, Spotify, thank you again for supporting us. And the interviews are all broken down into segment pieces on YouTube if you want to isolate and separate. We put a lot of clips out on social media as well if you want to hear those full interviews. Well, easiest thing to do, listen to the podcast on Rover or come and join us on the DSPN. Super Rugby Round 7. It's a big review today. Tony Johnson from Sky Sport joining us, as well as Brett McKay, the Raw out of Canberra. And very shortly as well, we'll do our regular, weekly and very popular Super Rugby Rankings.
We live in an amazing, amazing world, and it's wasted on the crappiest generation of just spoiled idiots.
Well, hip hip hooray, and come on down, Moana Pasifika. The best win so far in Super Rugby 2025. I believe so, for any team. Given the circumstances, given what was at stake and where both teams sat on the table, for everyone except those MP players, this was the easiest game of the round to pick. A Crusaders win. Probably with a bonus point. But no, the most stunning result, the biggest upset, the kind of result that defines the word upset. And not like it was even tight. Hell no, they ramshackled the Crusaders. They beat them down. They owned the team that was meant to go top of the table after this weekend, slapped them, stunned them at their place. The big whack, thwack and bum shellac. And this was no got lucky, just hung in there desperate to get over the line kind of win. This was overpowering. The Crusaders got moosed at home. They got crushed. They got crusaded. If ever you thought this competition was done, one-sided, if you had your top 6 in place, done, decided, think again. This turns the whole thing on its head. Anyone can beat anyone in this comp. That is now fact. MP were 11th. They were last. Just 1 win from 5. And now they've just thrashed the team, and they did. They beat them easy. They beat the team that was about to go top, that was meant to go top. That was the Crusaders' second only loss, which is also why it's such a huge win, a statement win. The best that Moana Pasifika have achieved to date, in my mind. This is the result that says beyond any doubt they have arrived. More than that, they are no longer the team everyone expects to beat in Super Rugby. This is how important a win that was. They beat a team who are a real contender. It's more than season defining, it's franchise redefining. They've not just made history with it, they've made it clear, Moana Pasifika, they are now legitimate.
Devlin.
Lachlan, it's time for our increasingly popular segment called Rankings. Are they power rankings?
Yes.
With exclamation marks all
capitals,
over?
power rankings.
Okay, the real rankings for Super Rugby after 7 rounds are the points table. And we say this every week. Reds, Chiefs, Crusaders, Brumbies, Waratahs, Force. Again, 4 Aussie sides in that top 6. And the Reds, top of the table after 7 rounds. An Aussie team top of the table. Canes, Highlanders, MP, Blues and Drua in that order. Last week, we had Georgia at 11 because we'd relegated the Blues.
You did.
Gone
you
from
had
the
Georgia
competition.
at 11. I didn't.
And unless the Blues can turn it around and beat the Canes at home this Saturday night, they're still Georgia. They're gone. This is their last chance to dance. If they lose that game, they're going to have to pretty much win out to make it. And this is a Hurricane side coming in with a heap of confidence after putting 50-something points, 57 was it, on New South Wales, playing brilliant attacking rugby. So it's all up to the Blues.
So why are the Blues, or why are Georgia in there for the Blues?
Because the Blues got relegated.
Well, yeah, but why are the Ndrua still in there?
Because the Ndrua...
They have the same record.
Yeah.
The Blues got a good win over the Hurricanes, a Blues side that's been decimated by injuries all year.
Blues got a lucky win over the Hurricanes with a dodgy scrum penalty
There's
in the
no
last
such
second,
thing as
mate.
lucky wins. There's no such, you win or you don't. There's no such thing
well,
as
the
lucky
Drua are
wins.
the only team that have beaten the Chiefs.
Yeah,
That's
but
pretty
that was
impressive.
in Lautoka, and we all know that
It's at home.
It's a different kettle of fish.
Good.
Every team.
Good.
And I'm not discounting the Endrua.
Good.
But you are like 20 to 30% worse in those conditions.
Who
the
is?
Endrua, the team visiting.
Good.
I'm not.
That's the whole
but
point
yeah, but
about
I'm not
advantage.
discounting the Endrua. I'm just saying it's a little bit unfair on the Blues.
Oh, it's unfair. They're the defending champions. They need to muscle up and they need to just...
This will be the third or fourth straight week we're doing this, where you're ripping into the Blues and I'm having to defend
I'm not
them.
ripping into the Blues. The Blues didn't even play. I'm just saying that if the Blues don't win against the Hurricanes, they're gone for the season.
Who have you got at 10th?
10 is the Drua. 1 and 5. Last week I had them at 9. Their road form is terrible. They get the Crusaders at home in Suva
why is
Saturday
their road form
afternoon.
terrible? Why is their road form terrible?
They just don't travel well.
No, it's because it's different when they're playing at home.
Good.
It's absolutely...
That's right. I keep saying. It's good. Now, the Crusaders, of course, after getting smacked by MP, and they lost that game. There wasn't like, regret, we were close in there. They were physically overpowered in that game.
I think the score tells you that, yes.
45-29.
Yes.
Do you know the other significant... we'll actually get onto this. Here's a trivia question. Think about this. 45-29 is a very famous historic score in New Zealand rugby. Why?
Was the semi-final in 95?
Yes, against England.
Jonah got 3 tries? 4 tries? 3 tries.
4 tries.
4 tries.
All right, so...
Who did he run over?
Mike Catt.
And Mike Catt is doing what now?
Pizza commercials.
No, he's an assistant coach for the Waratahs.
He made quite a bit of money doing pizza commercials, actually. He had a great sense of humour about it. In at 9.
That's why he's at the Waratahs. That's quite cool.
In at 9, the Force. Last week they were 8. They're 3 and 4. I don't think this team will make the top 6. I think they're battlers, but I don't think they're good enough to make the top 6.
They weren't far off beating the Reds on Saturday night.
But that's what I mean. They're battlers.
But they were good, though. The Reds...
Are they going to make the top 6?
I don't know. I don't know who's 6th. I think there's 5. We'll talk about this a bit more. I think there's 5 teams that you can more or less lock in.
At the moment, they're 6th on the table, but I don't think they're going to stay there. I don't think that
Well, yeah, we'll get to this, but who overtakes them?
Well, we'll do our top 6 predictions at the end of this, right? Yeah. In at 8, the Highlanders. Last week they were 7. They're 2 and 4. Very nearly, but just not quite good enough. They've lost to the Canes, the Reds, New South Wales and Brumbies. All close losses. All close losses, but they can't get over the line.
So you've got the Highlanders.
Yeah.
Geez, you've really pushed Moana Pasifika up here.
I have, yeah. You watch it.
Maybe a little bit too high.
No, just wait and see. I've got good reason for it. So I've got the Highlanders at 8. Yeah? Last week they were 7.
That's not where I would put them, but that's fine. I guess it's your podcast.
They could have easily be in the top 6, but they've lost those close matches. They just, whatever it is, they just can't seem to get over the line.
The Reds game... It felt was there for the taking, and then the Reds just hit another level in the second half, and the Highlanders couldn't keep up with them. Yep. The Hurricanes game, they absolutely could have won. So, yeah, those are 2 games right there.
New South Wales.
At the Brumbies game on the weekend.
Yeah, same.
New South Wales.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean, but they just can't. I've got New South Wales at 7. Now, last week they were 4. They're 4 and 2. They can't travel. All 4 wins are at home, and that lost to the Canes was substantial. I'm going to say right now that they won't make it. New South Wales, on what I saw against the Hurricanes, they're not going to make the top 6.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Okay? You agree with me on that?
No. Do you want me to tell? Okay, let me read it.
5th at the moment in the table. They've got a few points, but they can't win away.
You've got them 7th.
Yeah.
Okay. My 7 through 11, from 11 to 7, if that makes sense. Endrua, Blues, Force, Moana Pasifika. I could switch them around, but I'll go Force 9, Moana Pasifika 8, Highlanders 7. That would be my...
Okay, we're pretty close.
11 through 7.
Okay, we're pretty close. I've got MP at 6. Last week they were 10. They're 2 and 4. They've got a tough run home, but they're going to beat teams. Even though they probably won't make the 6, they're going to beat sides. Now, they play the Blues twice in this run home. If they can string the same performance together again, they're going to beat New South Wales this weekend. But, Tony Johnson on the podcast today talks about this. Teams trying to get 2 great performances in a row, as opposed to even 3 great performances in a row. Now the challenge is, Moana Pasifika came off a brilliant second half against the Hurricanes, right? Shut them down.
Mm.
And then they had that terrible first half against the Chiefs.
Well, they had the bye, didn't they?
Yeah.
So they didn't come off the bye very well.
No, and then, of course, they in the second half, they played well against the Chiefs, but the game was over by halftime. But they tightened up their defence, and that is the key to it.
Well, they held the ball.
Yeah.
That was also part of it as well. They didn't give the Crusaders any sniff. No sniffing.
Well, what stunned me from that match was that at what stage did you start thinking the Crusaders aren't coming back here? Because even at halftime, I thought the Crusaders are going to Crusader up in the second
So
half.
the Crusaders got a try, maybe about 20 minutes, half an hour out from the end of the game. They might have got in 2 in a row, and I thought, here we go, they're coming back. And then I think that pretty quickly, as it always happens in Super Rugby, the Moana Pacific just hit back with a try of their own.
Yeah.
That was the sort of the killer blow. Well, it wasn't the killer blow was their last try, but that was the moment when you went, oh, geez. So it was a character moment, which seemed to be the word of the podcast last week, character.
Yep.
I'll use it again. The moment that the Crusaders got those couple of tries and the Moana Pacifica bounced back and hit back with one of their own.
Look, how just for their confidence, for their personal confidence, that group of players, this is such a significant result because, it was 11 playing the team that was going to go top. And everybody who knows anything about Super Rugby had already ticked the Crusaders box. How many people, if you're in a tipping comp, ticked MP to win that game?
Well, no one would have.
Everyone ticked the Crusaders with a bonus point. I thought MP would get a bonus point and get off the bottom of the table. But to win the game and to win it as convincingly as they did, they're at 6 on my rankings.
That's too high.
And at 5, the Canes. Last week were 6. They're 3-3. They beat the Blues this weekend. They're well and truly back in it. And they're a top 6 side.
If they beat the Blues... So you can't play around with hypotheticals here.
I can.
No, you can't. Because
Canes put
happened.
57 on New South Wales,
Yeah,
mate.
I'm not discounting the
They're
Hurricanes.
beating the Blues.
Are they?
Are they? Well, they've got to put 2
They
great
didn't beat them in
performances.
Wellington.
They lost to a dodgy scrum
But
penalty.
they still lost.
Mate,
the
they
Blues
got
still
burgled.
won their game.
They got burgled. Angus Gardner, mate. You robbed us.
Stop it. Move on. Who have you got at number 4?
Brumbies. Last week they were 5, 4-3. Now their losses could have been wins. I think they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs, the Brumbies. They've lost to the Force at home. They lost to the Chiefs away. They lost to New South Wales away. I don't think we've seen the best of this team. I think that this Brumbies side could be the best in Australia. Remember, they play in round 9. They play the Reds. They haven't played them yet.
But they lost to the Waratahs.
I know, but I still think that they're the one team out of Aussie. I think that they are still capable.
Based on what? The fact that they have been the team the last 4 or 5 years,
Yes,
that's there or thereabouts?
that and also their roster, they're getting some players back, and I don't know. I think the Reds and the
Waratahs both have a better roster than the Brumbies.
I just don't trust
That's
them.
that's my guess.
Yeah.
No, I'd have
I got them at 4.
I'd swap the Hurricanes and the Brumbies around.
Okay, well,
I'd
I
put
got
the
them
Hurricanes at 4.
in the Brum. Okay, Crusaders are dropped to 3. Last week they were 1, 4-2 now they are.
Yeah, I got them at 3.
Their previous loss had been to the Chiefs. But which Crusaders side is real? Because in the second half of that Chiefs game, they got blown out. The scoreline blew out.
Well, this is honest chat from a bloke who was
on
waving the flag
Crusaders
saying
train.
that they're winning the title a week ago.
I jumped off that Crusaders train on Saturday after that thing, and I said, Crusaders train, just keep going, okay?
Jeez, and you're pumping
I'll
your
wait till
own
you come-
tyres and praising yourself. Well, you look at me, I picked it. Well, a week later, they lose to the worst team in the competition.
The bottom team in the competition, the worst team in the competition, is the Blues.
No, it's Georgia because you relegated the Blues.
That's right, I relegated the Blues. So I got the Crusaders down at 3.
Yeah, I do too.
And really, this is the big test for them this weekend when they go up to face Drua and Suva.
I don't think it is a big... Go on. I don't think it is, but go on.
Well, they've got to bounce back.
Well, it's... I mean...
Otherwise, I'm putting them...
You kick them out and bring Wales into it, Romania. But to be fair to the Crusaders, if they lose that, it doesn't mean anything because so many teams go up to Fiji and lose, and the Crusaders lost I think they've lost every time they've played away to the Indra.
Oh, you see, I don't actually think they've won
And
it,
2
have they?
years ago they played there and they lost.
And
it
they were
was
the
first
champion team, yeah.
Well, they won it. They beat the Chiefs in the final, but it was a big deal because I think it was the first time that one of the Indra or Moana Pasifika had beaten a heavyweight. Well, the previous year Moana Pasifika had beaten the Hurricanes, but for the first couple of years of the revamped comp, the Crusaders were the pace setters. So when the Enduro beat them, it was a big deal.
Remember, these are just our rankings, okay? And you can have your own rankings, okay? This is what the point of rankings is. Everyone's allowed to rank themselves.
If I'm Rob Penny, I'm putting out probably a B team.
Oh, no, you got to win the game.
Now, if you got to win the game, but if you're putting out your best side, well, I mean, they can win. I'm acting like it's impossible to win in Fiji. It's not impossible.
No,
but
the Brumbies did it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I don't think the Crusaders... There doesn't need to be any fear or worry around the result of this game at all. Because one, you're not going to probably go back there. And two, it's not... I mean, the Chiefs lost, but we think the Chiefs are we know they're probably the best team in the competition right now.
Well, are they? We've got 2 and 1 to go. At the moment on the real rankings, the points table, the Reds are ahead of the Chiefs by a point. That bonus point they picked up on the weekend. I've got the Reds at 2, though. Last week, they were 3. They're 5 and 1. They lost. The Crusaders lost to MP, and the Reds only losses to the Crusaders. So, and they beat MP, putting on 56 points. So I'm looking at those results going, are they anomaly results? because the Reds didn't look great against the Crusaders in Christchurch. Afternoon rugby, remember, it was the weekend of the Cyclone Alfred. They left some players behind. Whether their minds were elsewhere, I don't know. But they got well beaten by the Crusaders, who've now just been well beaten by MP. So I'm dropping the Reds to 2, even though they won on the points table. Because they're the best Aussie side, but I don't know whether they are capable when it comes to it of actually beating our best sides.
Well, they have played who out of New Zealand?
Crusaders?
Apart from the Crusaders, they've got the Chiefs this coming week, and they haven't played the Blues. They haven't played the Hurricanes, have they? So they've only played Australian teams or
they beat the Highlanders.
Moana Pasifika.
They beat the Highlanders well down in Dunedin.
Sorry, they did. They beat the Highlanders in Dunedin. Excuse me. I'd put them second. I think it just depends on the result against the Chiefs this weekend.
Chiefs are number 1, even though they didn't play, coming off the bye. 1 plays 2 this weekend, Friday night. What a way to kick the round off. Brilliant, isn't it? So there are the rankings. Chiefs, Reds, Crusaders, Brumbies, Canes, MP at 6.
No,
the big movers, New South Wales, Highlanders, Force, Drua, and Georgia's still bringing up the rear at 11.
So, who is your 6th
Leave us a
team?
comment.
Hold up. Who is your 6th team? Because you keep saying that so-and-so's going to miss out, so-and-so's going to miss out. They're not going to be there. They won't make it. Who are your 6 getting into the finals?
So you want us to pick a top 6 now? Top six right now. Top 6 are going to be Chiefs, Crusaders, Canes, Reds, Brumbies, and I'll leave the last spot for the Blues, who are going to mount a second-half comeback this season, and the Blues are going to be in at 6. That's my top 6 after 7.
You're not allowed to do that because you have just ripped into this team. You have been really harsh and mean.
Which is why it's going to be such an incredible comeback when they outpace Georgia on the outside, come roaring back and make the top 6. Leave us a comment, and on Friday, Feedback Friday, Comment Corner, we will comment on your comments. Those are our rankings this week.
This is the DSPN.